Representative Barzell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is on the Vermont towns that you're talking about. Isn't it true that out of 36 towns did in fact pass it at a town meeting with small numbers of residents? But you have about 251 towns in your in Vermont. A couple of them voted it down. Many of them did refuse to even take this up.
No, it's not a case of them refusing to take it up. It was a case of finding people. Last November, I broached the idea of maybe trying to find more towns to do it. So that reflection of 36 towns is simply a reflection of how many people we were able to find in a 2-month period of time to get the sufficient number of signatures on the agenda to put it on the warning. So, if we were to go back to Vermont and try to canvass the entire state, I don't know what the numbers would be, but I'm quite confident that they would increase in numbers. That is a reflection of time and numbers of people.
Thank you.
Sure.
I actually took that off of one of your newspaper articles in Vermont. But would you believe that in 1996, that following the Oklahoma City bombing, that Congress and the Senate passed, the President Clinton signed into law an anti-terrorism bill, okay, effective on with the Death Penalty Act of 1996, and what they said was this was the first time since the 1870s, Section 101 set a statute of limitations of a 1 year following conviction, okay, and it dealt with the habeas corpus, where they suspended this, okay, they were able to hold these people. This was signed under President Clinton. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't aware of that, and I would be definitely against that. This is what I don't understand. Because we have acted egregiously in the past, or presidents have acted unconstitutionally in the past, and Congress has acquiesced, and I would also add that the Supreme Court treats congressional acquiescence as precedent. But I would say that just past egregious and unconstitutional behavior is no excuse for current egregious and unconstitutional behavior.
Okay, now another question is, would you be aware, are you aware, or would you believe that in November 2006, the House, the Senate, and the President signed in the law of Military Commissions Act of 2006, and this is dealing with the military tribunals. This is after the Supreme Court made their decisions on the habeas corpus where on detainees that non-citizens, that they could go to a tribal, and I guess they had to put a bill together. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am. And I'm dead set against it. I think our Congress has been bullied, and this is not an excuse. There's no excuse for this. The Congress has been bullied into being afraid of appearing to be not patriotic, appearing to be not tough enough in the war on terror, to do several boneheaded unconstitutional actions. I think the Japanese internment is a perfect example of that. Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. This is a terrible thing. This is an act of war. But what do? We incarcerate Japanese Americans. It has nothing to do with anything. Proves to be unconstitutional, proves to cause a lot of trouble, proves to do no good, but yet we talk about that as some kind of worthy precedent. If we did it then, we can do it now. That makes no sense to me.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, so what I just want to make sure I clarify. So what he's saying is, if a law is made by Congress and Senate and passed signed by the President, we don't have to comply with it because Vermont disagrees.
No, I would say all laws, when they're passed by the Congress and when they're passed by the Senate, they need to pass constitutional muster. And you will notice that some of the actions of the Bush administration with respect to detainees in Guantanamo have not passed constitutional muster, and the Supreme Court has ruled them down. And this is what I'm about to say as a political statement. To my mind, our Congress is almost equal in the failure to live up to the Constitution. And maybe this is okay with people. Myself, it's not. I think this is a bad thing. I think it's a bad precedent. I think it's bad for the country. You may not feel that way and feel it's fine, but this is not about whether I think a law is a good law or not. It's simply about, are we interested in maintaining ourselves as a constitutional republic, which I think has been part of the genius which has kept us together as a nation for 200 years, in spite of the Civil War, in spite of lots of bad moves and good moves. We've been able to stay together as a nation because we have this structure. If we get outside of a constitutional structure, we're in no man's land. And I currently, with the current state of the media, the current state of the money power in this country, I am very uncomfortable with the idea of being in a political no man's land, just trusting I might vote in a guy who's going to be really great.
The one final one. We talk about Gitmo and some of the other ones, but do you realize that under the Geneva Convention and under regular Constitution, we have the ability to do military tribunals. If we say we're at war, we consider everybody we captured POW, or if we think they're a spy, we just take them out and hang them because you can shoot them. You can do certain things there. Terrorists, we did that during World War II. Saboteurs,
Yeah, that's
New
absolutely-
Jersey, in there. So,
And that
in
is
certain,
why-
but in certain cases, no matter how bad Gitmo is, you still have some chance of proving your case. Some of the old military tribunes, 24 to 48 hours, you don't have any chance of proving your case because you're dead.
I think
And that's what happened in World War
but
II.
But I think the salient point to remember is that is why Congress was given the power to declare war. And right now, there is no declaration of war. There are no enemy soldiers. The Bush administration has created an endless war, a long war they call it, a war without end. And under this so-called war, they are taking war powers that would properly be given to the executive branch only in times of actual declared war. And instead, they are taking those powers now, they are making them common, they're getting us used to them, and now they're all talking about, the new paradigm where our Supreme Court justice is saying, well, waterboarding, it wouldn't be okay for punishment, but it'd probably be okay for interrogation. That's where we've come in 6 short years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your
Yep.
time.